Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. Dogboat333, and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4, Kaiserreich. Now, it's been a very, very long time since we hopped into Kaiserreich together, and what can I say? I've missed it. I think last time we did for a full series was with the Ukraine update, all the way back in 2023. And it was so long ago, I don't really remember what we ended up doing. I think we took a lot of territory from Russia, I think. I think we elected the Nat Pops, I forget exactly. We also started a German series when the German rework came out, but that kind of died on the vine. At this point, I might just rework that and re-record it to begin with. But we'll get there when we get there. Meanwhile, I've had a real itch to play some Kaiserreich. What can I say? I missed the game. I've played a lot of Kaiser Redux on the channel, not semi-recently, more recently than Kaiserreich. And there's a charm to Kaiser Redux, but I like the simplicity and the tightness that comes with Kaiserreich, which doesn't always come with Kaiser Redux. Plus, this mod is way better optimized. So, I figured it would be nice to hop in and play ourselves a new campaign. And I was trying to figure out what we wanted to do for that campaign. And I decided to do a little bit of a throwback. The first ever country I played for YouTube for Hearts of Iron 4 is a country I don't think a lot of you would have figured you would play. You think, oh, Germany. Oh, what about America? You yank. You shameless American. Or what about Russia? Or Italy? No. The first series I ever played for Hearts of Iron 4 for my YouTube channel was Nepal. Why did I play Nepal? I don't know. Sounded like it might be kind of fun. And it was kind of fun. And I recently saw that Kaiserreich went ahead, well, not recently, with the last big batch of updates they did. Kaiserreich went ahead and added some focuses and did a little update for Nepal. And I figured, you know what? That seems like it could be fun. Let's get that going. So, we're going to be hopping in as a nation of Nepal. For almost a century, Nepal has been ruled by the Iron Fist of the Rana dynasty, crushing all dissent and turning the nation's monarchy into little more than a puppet institution. Even in the aftermath of the Indian Revolution, the steady hand of the Rana prime ministers saw it avoid a similar fate to their British allies, with any potential opposition swiftly dealt with. However, mounting tensions in India and the neighboring republic in Calcutta preparing for its return to the warpath. It is beginning to seem like the Ranas may be set to face their largest threat yet. Well, we shall see. I think this was tied up with a little bit of a broader rework when it came to India. Not a full remaster that was promised previously, but they added a little extra content, some more focuses, and they made Nepal very, very large, which is very nice to see. So we're going to hop in to the nation of Nepal. Figuring out how to put that flag into my paint.net and make a thumbnail out of that is going to be a mess. Oh, is that the great... Oh, shit, that's a great wall. That's cool. I didn't realize they added that. That's very, very neat. So I had Mount Fuji I saw. Let's get this started, huh? Let's start with the nation of Nepal. Getting a little bit nostalgia from the old YouTube days. God, that would have been right around 2016 when I did that. Let me pull up my YouTube studio. There we go, YouTube studio. search for my content for when I did Nepal. 9 years ago. My God. What date was that exactly? November 29th, 2016. That was when Obama was still president. I mean, Trump had won, but Obama was still president there. So if you don't feel old yet, I know I do. What? How time flies, you know. It's not flying by this damn loading speed, am I right? Anyhow. It's been a while since I opted into, 2023. What have I done series-wise since then? A fair bit of TNO, which is about right for me. Some 1,000-week reg, which I enjoyed. A lot of 1,000-week reg. Yeah, I kind of just became a TNO / 1,000-week reg YouTuber. I did play Culture Krieg when that dropped. I enjoyed Culture Krieg, but there's also not that much to do in Culture Krieg, sadly. I played Okay, here we go. Here we are. Let's get to it, gang. We have the Kingdom of Nepal. The Kingdom of Nepal, unified by the great Privrati Narayan Shah, has long found itself in a rather unique state compared to its nearby neighbors. Although subjugated by the British like its Indian counterparts, it still managed to maintain a great deal of autonomy, owing in large part to the well-known veracity and bravery of its troops, as well as the intentional policy of isolationism. This autonomy would even see official recognition by Britain of its independence in 1923, becoming the second state in the region to achieve such a feat, the first to do so through diplomacy, unlike Afghanistan. Nepal's governance has also been long set it apart from its neighbors, as although the kingdom may on paper be ruled by the Shah dynasty who founded it, for almost a century now the nation has been ruled by the Rana dynasty through a hereditary dictatorship. Functioning much like the Japanese shogunates, the Ranas truly rule Nepal through the office of Prime Minister, with the king acting as a highly respected figurehead who simply represents their orders. Although Rana rule is much resented, both by the general population and the king himself, their policies of brutal repression, economic stagnation, and steadfast mutual support, with Britain has historically seen all opposition to the rule snuffed out almost as soon as it began. When chaos erupted in India with the outbreak of the Arab Revolution, Nepal quickly found itself embroiled in conflict in support of their British allies. Although Nepal was not a direct battlefield itself, thousands of Gorkha troops were sent to fight directly under the British, as well as those under the Prime Minister's command being sent to defend the border regions where they remain to this day. The failure to defeat these rebels alongside the collapse of their primary ally has left the Nepali state in a very precarious position, with the government in Calcutta openly hostile to the Rana regime. With support from the Bharatiya People's Republic anti-Rana rebels, chiefly the Nepal Praja Parishad, have begun to form in the years since the ceasefire, with hopes of overthrowing the Ranas and establishing a free nation aligned with Calcutta. Only time will tell whether their dreams will come true, or whether the Ranas and their British allies will crush both of their enemies and further cement the Prime Minister's iron-fisted rule. So we have a general how to play guide. We have path guides. And we have a couple different options. We have an alignment with the commune. We have aligning with the UK. And we have going our own way. Which sounds quite interesting to me, personally. I think that's what we're going to try to go for, but we'll have to wait and see. First, I want to check. Do we have... No, we only occupy these two states. Okay. Interesting. We do have a core in Sikkim, though. Okay. Well, let's take a look at our starting situation. First off, let's take a look at our leader, Tribhuvan. Before I continue, if there are any Nepalese audience members watching this right now, and I'll extend it out to any Indian viewers as well, because I know I'm going to butcher that as well. I apologize ahead of time if I don't pronounce anything or most things correctly. I barely speak English sometimes. It's, it's a bit of an uphill battle, but I'm trying. I think I'm changing my recording style, so I'm going to pre-record all these instead of just going straight in. Instead of recording them and uploading them side by side. So I don't think I'll have an opportunity to get corrected on any of these. But I'd like to know for future reference, so if you guys want to let me know, please do. Anyhow, let's check out Trib Huvan, who's a defiant hostage. Born June 30th, 1906 in Kathmandu in the Kingdom of Nepal. Following the passing of his father, King Prithvi, in 1913, the merely 5-year-old Trib Huvan Bir Bikram Shah Dev became King Trib Huvan, growing up under the regency of Queen Mother Divyeshwari Lakshmi Devi. At age 12, he married Kanti Raja Lakshmi Devi Shah and her sister Ishwari on the same day in 2 separate ceremonies. Goddamn kid was a player when he was 12. Probably might have been against his will, actually. I shouldn't make jokes about that. In spite of being the head of the royal house of Gorkha, also known as the Shah dynasty, not to be confused with the Shah of Iran, Filiatardo, of course. While growing up, neither Trib Huvan nor his mother held any real governing power, with the Ranas holding an iron grip on real governance. During the Great War, he and his mother were threatened and intimidating into ordering the Nepali troops to war in support of Britain and the Entente's efforts, deepening the mutual animosity between the two families. Today, Trib Huvan is an adult and is chafed against the Ranas for far longer than his liking. As the Nepal Praja Parishad continues his scheme, so do does Trib Huvan sense the time to make his move shall come sooner rather than later. Well, there we go. Let's take a look at our national focus. First off, we have the Royal Nepal Army. The Royal Nepal Army is one of the few things in Nepal that inspires a pride in all those across the political spectrum. Ever since the Anglo-Nepalese War, Nepalese troops have been world-renowned, and for over the century, the Nepali Gurkha troops have become known as the most elite troopers under Britain's command. In the aftermath of the British and Indian revolutions, many Nepali veterans of these conflicts found themselves returning home to Nepal, bringing with them the wisdom and experience needed to elevate Nepal's own army to great heights and allowing the nation to punch majorly above its weight. There we are. Next, we have an economy of corruption and stagnation. I don't think I've ever seen party popularity stability modifier before. So that's a nice modifier to have. Everything else, though, is terrible. My God. How much to factory output? Dear Lord. Through a combination of a corrupt system built almost solely to enrich the Rana dynasty and a general policy of opposing industrialization to weaken the peasantry's political power, Nepal finds itself incredibly poor and backwards despite great potential for economic growth. While some attempts have been made in the past 2 decades to finally bring Nepal into at least the 19th century, the chaos of the 20s firmly scuppered all hope of this happening. Industrializing Nepal will likely require great political change and outside assistance, but will be vital for the nation not to fade into irrelevance. Well, I guess finally we have the realm of the Ranas. We get some nice political power gains as well as support for the radical socialists as well as the social liberals, who I believe are going to be the big opposition to us. So ever since their military coup against Queen Regent Raja Lakshmi and her husband King Rajendra, the Rana dynasty has ruled Nepal with an iron fist, crushing any attempts at opposition before it can manifest into a threat. Nepal under the Ranas acts as a veritable shogunate in the Himalayas, a comparison that Nepal's leadership has not failed to recognize, although most believing that they can avoid their regime suffering the same rate as the Tokugawas. The gradual growth of the anti-Rana opposition, aided heavily by the Indians, has begun to cast doubt on this optimism, however. Well, that's rough, buddy. Speaking of rough, we have nothing. Alright, we're going to get work on basic research speed and basic industry stuff. We have to, quite frankly. Do I want construction first or machine tools? Probably construction. We can build some some stuff. No, we can't actually. Okay. What we are going to do is just focus on some infrastructure. That's really all we can do right now, quite frankly. Let's get these units set up. We have 8 mountaineers, which is actually pretty okay. Especially if we have to do any defense. I think these guys can potentially hold the line pretty well. And let's go ahead and get our field marshal, Mr. Judah Shumsher Rana. And for a general, we'll go with... Got a lot of Ranas here, don't we? Let's go with... Does infantry... No, we'll go with the Mountaineer. Mutitlal Gurung. I probably butchered that, but, you know, we ball. So, this is what we are looking at focus tree-wise. Okay. This is interesting. Alright, so we have a real glorious or unshackling of... So, if we break free from the Ranas, either with the monarchy or as democratic, we get this one, it seems. If not, we go down with here, which helps out a little bit more. Okay. Okay, this all seems... simple enough, I think. Alright, let's work on... Okay, let's work on guarding the Prime Minister, get some extra units in here. As our country's future depends upon the safety of its leader, their protection is paramount for the army. For this reason, we'll create an elite force, not only capable of standing directly between the leader and harm, but also of defending the nation at its borders and, if necessary, striking into enemy territory. Alright, easy enough, I think. We could also train up some guys. How are Gurkhas looking? They're not bad. They're pretty good, even. I think considering the territory we got, and I don't know much about our expansion opportunities, but... you know, we can't exactly go into Nepal. Or not it. We are Nepal. No, shit, we can't go into it. We can't exactly go into India very easily. So, our best choices might be, if we want to expand to Bhutan, or maybe even Tibet. I remember when I played Nepal originally in the base game, the only thing I could do was go into Tibet. And then just kind of push in there. I don't know if I'd recommend that series. Maybe as a time capsule. But, you know. Meanwhile, we have volunteer only, limited exports, and isolation. Which isolation is rough to have. We do have our head of state here, which I'll go and read that real quick as well. Because as you all know, if you watch my channel long enough, I like reading all the stuff. It's fun. But... Judah Shumsher Rana, born in 1875 on April 19th in Kathmandu, in the Kingdom of Nepal. Not many Ranas are quite as blue-blooded as the mighty Juta Rana, born to a Kshetri and Rajput family, while additionally being the nephew of the very founder of the Rana dynasty. The great Jung Badahur Rana made him a colonel in his bare infancy, later becoming a general when he was just 10 years old. Despite a brief hiccup where he had to drop out of school due to ill health, Judah's ascension to power has been steady and glorious. Beautiful. That's what we like to see. Alright, let's go ahead and unpause. We'll go up to speed 4, ease into things. Do we have any decisions? No, we don't. Now we just kind of sit back and watch as things play out. Ooh, okay. Ever since the regime in Calcutta began to consolidate their rule, they've taken every opportunity to fund insurrection against the Nepali state in an attempt to turn it into a loyal puppet, perhaps even with eventual plan for annexation. This so-called Nepal Praja Parishad, or the People's Council, has been one of the primary groups in receiving backing from the Republic in their attempts to incite revolution in Nepal. Despite their relatively recent founding, they have managed to gather a startling number of supporters in high places. For now, however, Calcutta will have to begin the search for a new snake to send after us. As luck would have it, that the group's second in command, Dashrath Chand Thakuri, was arrested in a raid against the Harishad's membership. While the raid did not specifically seek out the man himself, it is a welcome surprise, and one that, if fortune favors us, should leave these rebels running around like headless chickens, scrambling for new leadership. Well, we got another rebel dealt with. Do we have any production going? We have some guns. That's really about it. Chernov assassinated. That's right. I don't think I've played since the Russian rework. Or with the Russian rework, actually. That's right. Savinkov starts off now. I believe, yep, Al Smith is president of the States now. Man. How times have changed. Anyway, despite hopes of the Parishad fading away with Chand Thakuri behind bars, reports have warningly suggested that the group has become more active than ever, potentially seeking to act quickly before the rest of their leadership meets the same fate. Even more worryingly, however, whispers coming out of the palace regarding the king's personal trainer, Dharma Bhakta Mathema. Mathema has long been under suspicion by the Prime Minister as the man who once directly connected to the group is now running the government in Calcutta, yet there's never been anything concrete to pin against him. The recent rumors, however, have done little to assuage suspicions against the man, with staff from the palace reporting overhearing seditious sentiments being expressed to the king in moments believing to be private. One of the servants even goes so far to claim that the king had even agreed with these sentiments, allegedly believing something had to be done about the prime minister. While we have little concrete evidence except the rumors of servants, hardly compelling on its own when their eavesdropping is already almost paramount to treason, it's hard not to feel paranoid about what poison is being whispered in the king's ear. Well, even if true, the king poses a little threat, right? Right? So what was this one exactly? Black Monday. Here goes the Afghani War. Okay. So it looks like, from my understanding, we're going to have something similar to Ireland when it comes to influence. And we have to either... We can choose to either root out the traitors, so to speak, or back them. But we have a little bit of a middle ground here, which we can potentially push out both, which would be quite useful, I think. Looks like this might be the play we want to do, actually. Okay. Interesting. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Germany when I played that as well. The anarchists have been elected in France. Alright. Well, compounding further on the increased activity of the Parshad and the unsettling gossip of the palace, we've now received scattered reports regarding events in Calcutta of an even more dire kind. Intelligence from the rightful Indian government in Lahore informed us last year of plans by the Calcutta regime to launch strikes against them, hoping to reignite war on the subcontinent, although these plans were shelved following a disastrous probing attempt against the Dominion's borders. Now they've informed us that these plans have seemingly been reactivated. Even more concerningly, Nepal itself has been factored into the equation. While not a fundamental part of the invasion plans, their agents have claimed that a meeting has been held in Calcutta with the Nepalese insurrectionists, including Parshad leader Tanka Prasad Acharya and socialist leader Ram Prasad Rai, in regard to the Nepali question. Allegedly, an alliance between the two was tabled, hoping to build a united front against the Ranas and launch a revolution against us as the first domino to bring out the Dominion's influence over the subcontinent. The outcome of the meeting is not yet known, with the reports suggesting it to be inconclusive at best. This is clearly the most organized the revolutionaries have been since the insurrection first began, and as such must be dealt with as harshly as we can before it festers even further. This is worrying. And we got this going. Okay. The Tibetan regent claims the Tibetan Independence Party is Improvement Party, rather, secretly crossing from Bharat to Tibet through Sikkim. At some cost, we can send troops to ensure relations with Tibet does not deteriorate, but at the same time, we could ignore this possibly spurious theory of theirs. Okay, so we'll get cores on those territories. And eventually we'll go after. And, Tibet, you can't order us around. You get out of here. Yeah, I think I do want to go for the Othdem path. That seems like it could be the most interesting. So we can either join the Co-Prosperity Spear or align with the Princely Federation. Potentially. Which should be interesting. Oh, well, here we go. We finished... Okay, yeah, we finished up one focus. Now we have the Darjeeling conspiracy. It seems that the prior reports of the insurrectionist meeting being inconclusive was too good to be true, as news from the border town of Darjeeling have confirmed our worst fears. An alliance has been struck between the Parshad and the Socialist Labour Swatantra Party, now operating under the umbrella name of the Mulki Sena, the Liberation Army. They have openly declared their intentions to bring down the Rana dynasty through whatever means necessary, aided by their comrades who, quote, wish to see the unshackling of Nepal, unquote. This news has caused a wave of fear in Kathmandu, with all loyal members of the Rana dynasty rallying around the Prime Minister Judah Rana. The king, following the Prime Minister's advice, has publicly declared his confidence in the government and attempts to quell this rebellion, although is unlikely to cause much impact with his obvious insincerity. While this alliance between the liberation rebels and their full backing of Calcutta, seems obvious that this liberation army will stop at nothing to see the end of Rana's rule over Nepal. They must be crushed, unless perhaps such revolution is desirable. This would give us more Othdem support, which I think that's what we want to do. You know what? I'm going to say the Ranas must be overthrown. We'll attempt to back the Mulki Sena in their attempt to oust Judah Rana and his dynasty, unlocking the back of the Darjin conspiracy. Conspiracy against the ruling Rana dynasty will begin, unlocking an associated decision category. By roughly this time next year, the Prime Minister will either find himself removed from the post, or the conspirators will be firmly crushed. Even the king counts himself among their numbers. Well, let's get those Ranas out of here. Let's back the Darjeeling conspiracy. We probably should have gone for the Indian surplus, but we can always go back, I suppose. Same with protecting Kathmandu, actually. Preparing for Tibetan aggression. We're worried about Tibet? Okay. Interesting. Okay, let's back the Darjeeling conspiracy. For nearly a century, the corrupt autocrats of the Rana dynasty have kept a stranglehold on the policies of Nepal, crushing its people, usurping power for its kings, and keeping the whole country in the state of backwardsness. The people of Nepal are to have a future, and the reign of the Rana tyrants must come to an end. And here we are. Revolution now brews in Nepal, with the anti-Rana opposition having coalesced together into the Mutni Sena Liberation Army, operating with major support from the Bharatiya People's Republic in Calcutta. With the help of the Dominion of India, the Prime Minister, Judah Sumsher Rana, hopes to crush these rebels and align fully with the Dominion, to take revenge against the Republic for their transgressions. It's hard to tell what may happen when the rebels finally make their move, but if either side succeeds, Nepal will find itself drawn into their benefactor's sphere. But if neither side is able to succeed, an opportunity may emerge for the king to restore order and maintain national neutrality. Okay, so both sides are pretty even just about now. But if one side is 25 or more points above the other, Nepal will align themselves with them once the mission concludes. Else it's likely to stay neutral. Okay, so we just got to keep everything balanced, it seems. And that should be easy enough, maybe. Possibly, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Restoration democracy. That's right. We have electricity here now. I don't know if that was... I haven't played the base game in a while. I know something about coal being added semi-recently, but I don't know much more of that. Despite the ongoing tensions of the Republic, meaning our mutual border is much more heavily guarded, it seems that, unfortunately, our men cannot be everywhere along it at once. Over the past few days, there's been scattering reports of a small party crossing the border around the Gandaki, having seemingly passed any guards, pulling a rickshaw behind them. Rather surprisingly, however, all the reported sightings so far of the entourage have dismissed any concern of it being arms or other military equipment from Calcutta. Instead, they seem to claim it to be machinery, with most solid guess as to what it is, being a printing press. The confirmation of the smuggling not being guns for the rebels has put the army at ease, with no one currently being sent to hunt down these men in their rickshaw, but has overall imparted a great deal of confusion as to why they go through the effort. It isn't exactly illegal to bring a printing press into Nepal. Censorship hasn't yet gone that far. So the best guess that has been tabled is that these men are thieves trying to fence a complicated-looking object they managed to get their hands on. Still, while the act of smuggling can probably be chalked up to petty theft, the fact that they were able to manage it means that it could easily next time be guns or explosives. The guard along the border must be increased, and those currently stationed at this crossing will be getting a stern talking to at minimum. Well, we need to redouble the border guard. There we are. A lot of stuff happening in the world in the meanwhile. New Pope. Oh, is he pious? You know, he's not from Chicago, so I don't care. Okay. It would seem that we finally received an answer to the mystery of the smuggling operations a few weeks ago. It was not the answer we were hoping for. Over the past few days, it seems that wherever you turn into Kathmandu, you've been able to find a copy of a Janata Patrika newspaper from Calcutta, filled with seditious and treasonous claims about the Prime Minister and his family. Accompanying this filth has often also been a pamphlet from the Nepal Praja Parishad taking claim for the entire operation, declaring proudly that their threats against the nation. Rana Dynasty. You must know that the Nepal Praja Parishad was established with the aim of liberating and freeing the Nepali people from your cruel clutches, educating them in pure knowledge, honoring their race, earning their wealth and religion, and making them one of the civilized races of the world, and making the pride of their country echo in every direction for thousands of years. Well, these papers are unlikely to have much impact, with most of those literate enough to read them simply confused by the material. The fact that we allowed this to sneak past us is a rather embarrassing affair. The lack of tracking of the printing press once it had been identified means we do not currently know where it ended up, which would have potentially exposed the Parishad's operation. All we can really do at this point is decide how to react to what's already been distributed, with the Prime Minister especially wanting those responsible hunted down with as many resources as we can spare. Alright, so we're about to give 5 points to the Bharatiya. So let's go ahead and give that to the British Indians. Burn these papers and hunt down... Burn these papers, rather, and hunt down their printers. We'll take a hit to our the Rana Dynasty in the meanwhile, but we're not so worried about them now, are we? Anywho, I'm going to go ahead and leave things there, my friends, but I thank you all, as always, for watching. If you like this video, leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike. Leave any comments or feedback down in the comment section below. I read all comments I get, and do appreciate any feedback you might have for me. If you want to keep updated with these uploads as they come out, hit the sub button and the notification bell. I have uploads going up weekdays as well as Saturdays, so if you're interested in any Hearts of Iron 4 content or strategy games, new campaign trail, anything like that, go ahead and check out and consider subscribing. Check out my various links on the description box below if you want to keep up to date with the channel in different ways as well. And yeah, I'm going to leave things there, but I thank you all, as always, for watching. My name has been Mr. Dogboat333, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.